What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. So I got to play the open beta, and all I gotta say is, I don't think it's for me. But just because it's not for me doesn't mean that you won't like it either. I mean, after all, I'm just another OG gamer who's looking for that nostalgic D2 dopamine hit, if there's even such a thing. Before we get started, I want to say thank you to everyone here right now who honestly values my thoughts on the game, because there were some things that I liked about the game and of course quite a few things that I didn't like. I'm not going to go over every little detail, so I'll spare y'all from hearing me rant about a particular quest line or an item or a skill mechanic that might have sucked. Now about the game. I created my rogue, and as far as customization goes, if you ever played ARPGs before, you would know that any kind of options are always welcome, so that was definitely a plus. Usually, you're always stuck with the same avatar as everyone else in the same class. So when I first entered the game, the graphics immediately popped at me. I don't know if I still had my rose-tinted glasses on or not, but the lighting in the game was dark and I liked it. It kind of gave me a feeling of mystery and danger. I almost felt as if I was going to get mugged, so I started to feed into the hype. When the devs talked about the game being darker, they definitely weren't kidding. The movement felt okay, the combat being as little as I experienced in the starting zone was decent yet oddly familiar. Think D3 and D Immortal but with different animations. Moving right along to the UI, it looked a bit clunky and confused in my opinion. And when I say confused, I'm not saying it's hard to understand. What I mean by this is that the UI is definitely suffering from a severe case of identity crisis. I noticed a mix of styles from Diablos 1, 2, and 3. I'm not asking Blizz to innovate something groundbreaking, but I think they should stick to one theme. At first glance, you could automatically assume it was ripped from D3 right off the bat, but then you also start to notice subtle differences, like to me the health and monoglobes feel straight from D3, the skill bar and icons look like it came out of D1 and D2, but this might not be nothing new to most of you who have already seen the images of the UI. I'm just letting you know my opinion on it. I was happy that the skill icons weren't too colorful and complex. To me, it's just less distraction in what's supposed to already have a dark and gory theme. I also had trouble tracking my buffs and debuffs, and give us back our overlay map. That should be pretty standard in an ARPG. The skill tree was easy to understand and the layout was pretty straightforward. I'm not going to go over all the skills themselves because we'll be here all day, and I'm sure y'all have already watched millions of other videos explaining how skills in the skill tree works. One thing I want to touch on though is that I was never a fan of skill cooldowns in ARPGs. MMOs for sure, but not ARPGs. I believe that if a skill does come with a cooldown, it should either be minimal, as in 1 to 4 seconds, if not completely negated through some crazy calculations and gear combos. I was hoping the cooldowns and resources wouldn't slow down my gameplay, but it did. Maybe it'll get better in the end game, but as it stands right now, in my opinion, it's a trash system. I did like the fact that I could respect my skills up to, I believe it was level 10 for free. This is definitely helpful, I think, for everyone to actually get a feel for some of the starting abilities without having any of the consequences. It's just nice to be able to play around with all the abilities in the beginning of the game. After level 10 though, it begins to cost gold for every point refunded, which I think is reasonable and helps give gold an added value. I gambled all my obols, which if you didn't know is a currency used for gambling items at a vendor in town, which was actually one of the highlights of my experience, probably because I was able to obtain about 4 legendaries out of only 20 rolls. Unfortunately, I wasn't recording at the time, so you're just gonna have to believe me. I'm assuming the probabilities will change once the game is released, or maybe I just had a hot hand. Either way, I'm glad it's in the game and I like that it has its own currency. Not that I'm addicted to gambling or anything. The renown system. Not a fan. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a fan. It's obviously much like the reward systems they have in place in Lost Ark, where you log in, do a few things in the game that you might normally do, such as explore areas of the map, find a few hidden objects here and there, and you're automatically rewarded. It's much like a bonus structure at a real job, except Lost Ark one-ups this by handing out participation rewards just for showing up. So I continued my grind of main quest lines and uninspired dungeon layouts that reminded me of party-friendly Maggot Lair from Act 2, which was one of my least favorite areas in D2, and nearing the end of my 25 levels of experience, I'd say mainly around level 21 onward, I began to get bored with the game real fast. After playing the game for hours like everyone else and learning more about how your skills interact with each other, mob mechanics, quest lines, it all started to get mind-numbing. Maybe I was burnt out, but in the end, it feels like I've played this game before. Now hold up, before you go grabbing your pitchfork, let me say this. I understand that Blizzard is trying to make Diablo feel more like an MMO. They're taking some elements from different games, piecing them all together, and that's fine. But if you're gonna take any kind of elements from MMOs, at least take one. Let me use my camera the way I want to use it. Let me be able to look through the eyes of my character, look up into the sky, swing my camera around like I'm about to do a 360 no-scope. Just give me some kind of freedom. To me, that's what MMOs are about, giving you that freedom. That would be my constructive criticism for Blizzard. We're all allowed to criticize the game how we see fit. I don't know yet if I'll purchase the game, but as it stands right now, I'm not that interested in it, if you couldn't tell. And that's unfortunate for me because I'm really looking for an MMO or an ARPG that I can enjoy for years. However, that could change though when I learn more about the endgame content and PvP. I'm a big PvP buff. Remember, all of this is just my opinion, and I urge you to go check the game out for yourself next week during the second weekend of open beta. If you do, make sure to come back and let me know what you think of the game. And that's about it. I'm done. Thank y'all for watching, but please be sure to hit that like button if you do like this video, and if you're not already subbed to the channel, consider subbing for more gaming content as I continue my quest for a great MMO or ARPG. I'll see y'all on the next one.
Thank you.
Let's go, level 25. Did it. Oh, beat the game. Beat the game, level 25. Let's fucking go.